Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 90 Days to a Clean Heat Conversion Part 2, Obtaining, Reviewing, and Selecting Contractor Bids. NYC Clean Heat, as you may know, is part of PlaNYC. We provide technical and financial assistance, working with building owners, property managers to comply and help them comply with NYC heavy heating oil regulation. The agenda today, I'll be covering an overview of clean heat and then go through the process about obtaining contractor bids. And we'll follow that with a Q&A at the end. Lines are muted currently, and we'll open it up for questions at the end of the presentation. I am Larry Katz. I'm an account manager on the NYC Clean Heat team, and our contact information is shown on your screen. There are people, we do have someone standing by to take phone calls during the webinar. You could always email us as well. So the three major elements to PlaNYC for a greener, greater New York, they all relate to the clean heat program. Number one, obviously, air quality to help achieve the cleanest air of any big U.S. city. And we also are looking to reduce energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. So by eliminating number 6 and number 4 heavy fuels, we can take this strategy and provide real impact to the air quality of the city, help making it the cleanest and safest of any major U.S. city. And you see graphically how a survey of air quality done before the program in 2008 and 2009 versus 1 year into the program, you see the differences in the density of particulate matter that's being measured, basically soot emissions, and we've made further strides in the last couple years of the program. Overall, this reduces loss of life and reduces emergency room visits and hospitalization. So in 2011, the DEP finalized their regulations to eliminate heavy oil use in 2 phases. The first phase to eliminate number 6 fuel. So starting in July of 2012, the DEP would no longer issue certificates to operate boilers with number 6 oil. And therefore, as certificates run for 3 years, all certificates would expire by June 30th of 2015. So just in a few months, there would be no more number 6 oil allowed as primary fuel in heating systems. Phase 2, all buildings need to convert to the cleanest fuels by 2030 or when replacing a boiler or burner. So number 6 and number 4 heavy oils would be eliminated by 2030. However, if, for example, a boiler system using number 4 oil was to have a burner replacement required later this year or next year, for example, then at that point, a conversion to a cleaner fuel would be required, as another certificate to operate with number 4 would not be issued. All in all, this points to a short time frame that remains for getting into compliance, and therefore a plan to convert to ULS2 oil now to get on a cleanest fuel or clean fuel is really required, and gas service, if desired, would be something to plan for in the future. So Clean Heat provides technical assistance, again working with building owners, property managers to help them manage the process to convert to clean fuels. We also have partners for financial assistance, helping to do the fuel switching process. And we have our website. You can visit nyc.gov/cleanheat with more information available. So we'll go into the process now. Really the second step in 5 steps to conversion The previous webinar talked about assessing fuel choices, and we're now going to look at the process for obtaining contractor bids. So the planning stages would start by getting a status of the heating system and understand what is required to move forward from this point. Have the boiler or burner exceeded their useful life? What are the conditions of that equipment? And is the burner capable of burning to fuel and or natural gas? Also, it's important to assess the condition of the fuel oil storage tank and how it's situated. And for planning for gas in the future, is the chimney properly lined, or what other repairs may be required? So in terms of potential replacement, if the boiler was to be replaced, then we recommend the services of a professional engineer to evaluate the building envelope and properly size a replacement boiler that would meet the energy needs of the property. Burner would be replaced if it's at its useful life end or near end, and if dual fuel capabilities are desired. As far as the fuel oil storage tank, keep in mind that the tank must be in compliance with the regulations issued by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, and cleaning and relining the tank may not be cost effective. So it may make sense to replace the tank at that point. If you don't have to replace the tank, then it's important to bring it up to compliance and the room as well. And contractors can perform the required work and make sure it's situated properly on saddles, for example, or to keep it off grade, to ensure containment. And we have specialists also that are available that can do this type of work at potentially save money on the job. Once cleaned, it must be tested, and if the test fails, there needs to be a plan of remediation to be reported within 2 hours. It's recommended also that you proceed with caution if there's claims from contractor that the tank testing would not be required if you downgrade from number 6 to another heavy oil, number 4. Basically, porosity can develop, which could lead to a leak using less viscous fuels, or the small cracks that have been filled by the heavier oil, number 6, may allow for leakage of a thinner mix of fuel, of oil, and money that you'd invest in testing can be far less than the potential costs of cleanups and fines. For future gas conversions, an inspection of the chimney liner would be required, and either a new liner to be installed or repairs and treatment to bring the chimney line up to code with a certification required after defects are found and repairs are made. So who to approach for obtaining bids? For the oil-to-oil conversions that are the priority at this point in the process to get into compliance, those conversions can be performed by licensed professionals with proper qualifications, fuel oil companies, plumbers, and boiler contractors among them. If looking to also use natural gas in the future, then those conversions would require expertise in that area. Energy consulting firms that work with both oil and gas conversions are a possibility, as well as the other contractors and plumbers who have done that type of work before. Something else to consider are the requirements for Local Law 84 and Local Law 87. If your building needs to file the Local Law 84 reports, and if Local Law 87 auditing and retro-commissioning is required, then you may want to look for professionals who also do that work and can make recommendations. They could also implement some of the energy efficiency measures that could be identified through the process, and those who are familiar with incentive programs through the utility or NYSERDA could offer those benefits as well. Engineers and certified energy managers would be among those who do this type of work. As far as where to find qualified professionals, on the NYC Clean Heat website, you can identify boiler and burner installers that are recognized and by the city to do the licensed work in New York, the Department of Buildings. The ULS2 conversion specialists we have can assist with those types of conversions with ULS2 and biodiesel mix. There can be incentives to convert, and free assessments of the boiler system are included by many. Several resources through the NYSERDA site as well. Commercial buildings as well as multifamily building categories are provided. Both spots on the website to direct you accordingly. So with that planning in mind and resources identified, bids can be requested. A minimum of 3 firms, to obtain bids from 3 firms is considered to be best industry practice. You can invite multiple firms to a site visit to look at the building and the boiler room, help ensure the quality of the bids that you'll receive. You can conduct one site visit for all firms at one time, ideally, if therefore you could just do the one visit with everyone and save some time. And questions and responses should be noted to help in the bid process and know what to expect in a proposal submitted. The scope of work is the main component of a proposal, in addition to pricing, terms and conditions, and a timeline. Timeline should have both projected start and completion dates. So going into the scope of work in a little bit more detail, premise is to have all the proposals have the same scope of work, and this way you can do a fair apples-to-apples comparison. As you review scopes of work, it's important to look for discrepancies between proposals. If necessary, follow up with questions to understand why some firms may have included or not included an item that you thought would be part of the proposal, and you may even reissue the bid or ask for revised scope of work and pricing to make sure that they're consistent. In terms of some of the things to expect, conversions off number 6 would involve removing a sidearm heater. This is no longer required to keep the temperature of the fuel at the required level. Not required after switching to a fuel off number 6. If you switch to ULS2 or in the future natural gas, you'll also remove the electrical preheater. And again, energy savings are associated with the removal of this preheater. So if you're moving to number 2, say, then that's another savings versus number 4 fuel. All pumps should be checked, and any new controls or equipment that's been identified as required should be listed as well. So finally, you're ready to do your selection, and after reviewing scope of work and pricing for the conversions, you'll see what's been specified in terms of equipment replacement or repair. Obviously, the specified heating oil, any items that help plan for a gas connection in the future if desired. All permits and inspections and related work should be included in the price. And additional services for Local Law 84 or 87, requirements to be met should also be in the proposal. So in summary, by beginning, you can make the requests and review the contractor bids and make an informed decision. And following that, permits can be filed, work can be performed, and the heating system would be brought into clean heat compliance.